The grand chandelier sparkled like 1,000 tiny stars. Guests in designer dresses and tuxedos whispered in anticipation. The hall smelled of fresh roses and vanilla candles. Everything was perfect until the truth arrived. Madeline Hartwell, 28, poised and glowing in a couture wedding gown, walked down the aisle, her heart pounding. She smiled at the guests, at the expensive arrangements, at her soon-to-be husband, unaware that her life was about to unravel. Groom, Alexander Cole, 32, tall, handsome, billionaire entrepreneur, exuding charm. He waited at the altar with a smile that hid decades of secrets. The ceremony began. The officiant spoke warmly, speaking of love, trust, and forever. Madeline's hand trembled slightly as Alexander took hers. "I, Alexander Cole," the groom began, and the crowd leaned in. Suddenly, a tiny, clear voice interrupted. "Dad." All eyes turned. A little boy no more than 6 stood at the edge of the aisle. Messy brown hair, wide green eyes, clutching a small teddy bear. Madeline froze. Alexander's smile faltered. Guests gasped. Whispers rippled across the room. The child walked slowly forward, holding out his tiny arms. "I'm your son, Dad," he said, looking straight at Alexander. Madeline's world tilted. Alexander's jaw tightened. He opened his mouth, then closed it, words failing him. The officiant cleared his throat awkwardly, stepping back. Whispers grew into murmurs, murmurs into stunned gasps. The perfect wedding had just crashed. Alexander's face went pale. Madeline stepped closer, trying to mask her confusion and rising panic. "Alexander, what?" she whispered. The boy clung to Alexander's leg. "I'm Noah. You promised you'd come back for me." The guests now stared. Cameras flashed. Phones were raised. The most intimate moment of Madeline's life had turned into a public spectacle. Alexander swallowed hard. His polished facade cracked, revealing raw panic and regret. Madeline's mind raced. Betrayal, lies, secrets, and a life she never knew existed. The wedding hall seemed to tilt, the chandeliers swaying slightly in her vision. Every guest waited for an explanation. Alexander opened his mouth, but the first words that came out were not for Madeline. "They told you I didn't think. I didn't know how to come back," he murmured to the boy, voice breaking. Madeline's heart sank. Her perfect day had become a battlefield of hidden truths. And this was just the beginning. Make sure to like and subscribe our channel to support our journey. The wedding hall was silent. So silent that the ticking of the grand clock above the altar seemed deafening. Cameras still flashed. Guests whispered nervously, some taking secret videos on their phones. But Madeline Hartwell couldn't hear any of it. Her mind was spinning, the world around her reduced to Alexander, Noah, and the impossibility of what had just unfolded. She gripped her bouquet so tightly her knuckles turned white. Her carefully curated smile had vanished. "Alexander," she whispered again, her voice shaking. "Explain now." Alexander's jaw tightened. He turned toward her, eyes glassy with guilt and fear. His polished charm, the same charm that had won her heart, had crumbled under the weight of the truth. "Madeline, he swallowed, but no words came. Noah tugged at Alexander's leg, his small arms pleading. "Dad, please, I've missed you." Madeline's heart broke, not just for herself, but for the child standing there, innocent, caught in the middle of decades of secrecy. She realized she didn't even know the child's name, yet Alexander had called him Noah. The officiant cleared his throat, awkward, hesitant. "Perhaps we should step aside, allow." Madeline shook her head violently. "No, this is my wedding. No, it's supposed to be." Her voice cracked, tears threatening. Guests exchanged uncomfortable glances. Social media influencers in attendance whispered to each other, "Is this real? Is this staged?" But Madeline didn't care. This was real, too real. Alexander's hands trembled slightly. He knelt down to Noah's level. I never wanted to leave you. Your mother, circumstances. It wasn't supposed to happen like this." Noah's bottom lip quivered. "But you said you'd come back." The words pierced through Madeline like ice. She felt her perfect life, the life she thought she had meticulously planned, collapse in seconds. Alexander rose slowly, turning to face the room. "I need to tell you all the truth," he said, voice trembling. "Noah is my son. He's 6 years old. I never planned for this day to be like this, but I cannot ignore him anymore." Gasps filled the room. The wedding planner stepped back, unsure if she should intervene. Madeline's mind screamed. How could he hide this? All these months, all the letters, the planning, the public appearances, and I never knew. Tears blurred her vision as she looked at Alexander, the man she loved and now felt utterly betrayed by. I need a moment, she whispered, turning away. Guests murmured. Some sympathized silently. Others whispered about betrayal and scandal. But in Madeline's mind, the whispers were drowned out by the pounding of her heart. Noah tugged at Alexander's hand, looking between his father and Madeline. Will she hate me too? Alexander froze, his face softened. No, buddy, no, she could never hate you. Madeline turned back and their eyes met. Alexander's expression was raw, vulnerable, unpolished. He had no answers that could fix this moment, but he had honesty, finally. The hall seemed to shrink around her as she processed the revelation. Why now, she thought, why today? Why my wedding day? Alexander stepped closer. Madeline, I know this ruins everything you imagined. I know it may ruin us, but I cannot start a life with you or anyone without Noah. He's my responsibility, my son. He deserves me. Madeline's emotions swirled like a storm: love, anger, betrayal, fear, compassion, confusion. She realized she had a choice: run, scream, collapse, or try to understand the man she loved and the child who had unknowingly invaded her life. Noah took a tentative step toward her. Will you be nice to me? He asked softly, innocent and fragile. Madeline's heart ached. She knelt slowly, leveling herself to his height. I don't know everything yet, she admitted. But I'll try, I promise, Noah. The little boy's face lit up with a small, hopeful smile. It was the first light in an otherwise dark, chaotic day. Alexander exhaled slowly, relief and guilt intermingled. Thank you, Madeline. That means more than you know. The guests whispered, cameras clicked, but Madeline hardly noticed. She was caught between two worlds: the life she had meticulously planned and this new, unpredictable, raw reality. As the music for the wedding reception started, soft but surreal, Madeline realized something. This wedding, this day, would never be about perfection again. It would be about truth, about choices, about love tested by secrets. And deep down, she knew, if she wanted to be with Alexander, she couldn't just marry him. She had to navigate this child, this hidden past, and the man she thought she knew so well. Because some secrets didn't just walk in, they stormed in, changed everything, and refused to leave. The grand hall was buzzing, not with celebration, but with whispers, gasps, and the clicking of phones. Guests streamed videos live, hashtags already forming. Wedding scandal, groom exposed, secret child. Social media influencers whispered, "This is going viral," as shocked relatives tried to calm themselves. Madeline stood near the altar, her bouquet now limp in her hands. Her chest ached, her mind a whirlwind of betrayal, confusion, and anger. Alexander, tall and handsome as ever, now seemed diminished, vulnerable, human, stripped of his polished billionaire mask. "Alexander," she said, voice trembling, cutting through the noise. How long have you been hiding him from me?" Alexander's gaze dropped. "Madeline, Noah is 6. I didn't know how to tell you. I needed to protect him, and I didn't know how to manage it. I thought I could handle everything before this day, and I failed." Madeline's hands shook. "You failed me. You lied to me. Every dinner, every conversation, every plan we made, you lied." Noah looked between them, sensing the tension, small green eyes wide with worry. "Mom," he whispered. Madeline froze. Her mind stumbled over the words. "Mom, she doesn't know yet." Alexander's jaw clenched. His mother, Amelia, she passed away last year. He's been with his grandmother, but life got complicated. I thought I could make things right before today." Madeline's knees felt weak. "You thought you could make things right? Alexander, this is a wedding. My wedding. How could you not tell me?" Guests shifted uncomfortably, some turning their phones off out of embarrassment, others leaning closer. The room had transformed from a celebration into a theater of scandal, betrayal, and heartbreak. Noah tugged at Alexander's hand again. "Dad, she's mad, isn't she?" Alexander knelt beside him, placing a firm hand on the boy's small shoulder. "Yes, she's angry, and she has every right to be. But I need you to trust me, buddy, please." Madeline, despite her fury, felt a pang of sympathy. The child was innocent, caught in the crossfire of her fiancé's lies. "You could have told me anything, she shouted, tears rolling freely. Instead, I find out in front of everyone, my friends, my family. The entire city probably will see this on social media before the day ends. Alexander swallowed, his voice hoarse. I wanted to protect the moment. I didn't want to ruin what we had. But I see now that I ruined more than that. I ruined your trust, and I don't know how to fix it. Madeline's eyes narrowed. You want to fix it? Then start by telling me everything. Noah's life, Amelia, why he's been hidden, why you kept me in the dark. Everything. Alexander nodded. He glanced at Noah. Can you sit with your grandmother for a minute, buddy? Noah's small frown twisted into hesitation. Okay, he whispered, holding Alexander's hand for comfort as he was led out of the hall. Madeline's chest heaved as the boy disappeared. Now, she demanded. Alexander's gaze dropped to the polished floor. 2 years ago, I met Amelia. We fell in love quickly, but circumstances were complicated. Her family, they wanted her to move abroad. I didn't want to separate, but I had business obligations, things I thought I could handle, and then his throat tightened. Then she died unexpectedly. Noah's grandmother took him in, and I didn't know how to tell anyone. I was terrified. And when I met you, Madeline, I thought I could start fresh. I never meant to deceive you, but I see now that I did. Madeline's hands shook. Her heart was a storm of grief, anger, and shock. She wanted to scream, run, collapse, and yet there was still a piece of her that loved him. Do you understand what you've done? She whispered, voice breaking. You've dragged me into a life I didn't agree to without telling me the truth. And now the world knows. My wedding, my life, everything is public. Alexander nodded slowly, guilt etched into his handsome features. I know. I'll do anything to make this right. I swear it. Madeline turned to the crowd. Cameras still flashed, guests murmured. She realized there was no going back. The story was out and everyone had seen the truth. Outside, social media was already alight. Influencers posted. Billionaire groom exposed. Secret child crashes wedding. Comments poured in by the thousands. Shocked emojis, heated debates, sympathy, judgment. The story was trending. And yet, in the chaos, Madeline made a silent choice. She would not let this child suffer. She would not let the past completely destroy the possibility of love. She looked back at Alexander, her eyes icy yet vulnerable. We need to decide if we can survive this. Not just us, but Noah too. Can you handle the truth, Alexander? Because if you can't, I can't stay. Alexander swallowed hard. I can, I will, I have to, for you, for him, for us. The tension in the hall was unbearable. Guests whispered, some recording every tense word, while Madeline wrestled with a truth far bigger than herself. Because love, real love, wasn't just about perfection. It was about weathering storms, enduring truths, and deciding whether hearts could survive when everything else collapsed. And today, her heart had just begun that test. The morning after the wedding disaster, Madeline drove in silence through the city streets. Her mind was a storm of anger, confusion, and a reluctant curiosity about the little boy who had upended her life. She hadn't slept. She hadn't eaten. All she could think about was Noah, the child who had called Alexander dad and who now occupied her thoughts entirely. Alexander sat quietly beside her, his suit still slightly wrinkled from the previous night. His eyes were tired, haunted, but resolute. I know this isn't easy, he said softly, but you need to meet his grandmother. She'll fill in the pieces you haven't seen. Madeline didn't answer. She wanted to scream at him, demand explanations, but part of her, a small, stubborn part, wanted to understand. She drove to a quiet, upscale neighborhood where the house was warm, welcoming, and full of life. Noah's grandmother, Alina Whitman, a woman in her 60s with soft gray curls and gentle eyes, greeted them at the door. Alexander, my dear, she said warmly, then looked at Madeline with an assessing gaze. And you must be Madeline. I've heard much about you. Madeline hesitated. The stories she had heard in whispers at the wedding, scandal, secrets, betrayal, made her stiffen. Alina smiled kindly. I know this isn't easy for you. It wasn't easy for him either. Come meet Noah. In the living room, Noah sat on a small chair, his green eyes wide as he fidgeted with his toy truck. When he saw Madeline, he froze, unsure. She knelt slowly, keeping her distance but softening her posture. Hi, Noah, she said gently. I'm Madeline. Noah's lips quivered. You were at the wedding, he whispered. You didn't run away. Madeline's heart tightened. I didn't run away. I want to understand you. I want to know you." Noah's small hands reached for hers and she allowed it. The warmth of his grip, fragile and trusting, melted a little of her fear. Alexander watched quietly from the doorway, guilt shadowing his expression. Eleanor handed him a photo album. "Noah's life hasn't been perfect," she said softly, "but we've done our best. You need to see for yourself." Madeline flipped through the album. Pictures of Noah at birthdays, playing in parks, smiling at family gatherings. Pictures of Alexander, always present in glimpses, always loving yet distant, torn by circumstances. I had no idea," Madeline whispered, tears stinging her eyes. He's amazing. And you've been through so much." Alexander stepped forward, voice quiet. "I wanted to tell you everything, but I didn't know how. I was afraid of losing you, afraid you'd hate me, afraid you'd hate him." Madeline took a deep breath. Her heart ached, but she felt something shift. Anger didn't vanish, it simmered. But there was empathy and a spark of protective affection toward Noah. Noah shuffled closer to Alexander, tugging at his sleeve. "Dad, will she like me?" Madeline smiled softly, kneeling closer to the boy. "I think I already do," she said, voice tender. "You're very brave, Noah. I want to get to know you if you let me." Noah's green eyes lit up with relief. For the first time, he smiled freely, unguarded. The tension that had haunted the wedding hall melted slightly in this small living room, filled with family photos and soft afternoon light. Alexander exhaled, relief washing over him. He took Madeline's hand briefly, grateful, hesitant, unsure if she would stay, unsure if he deserved forgiveness. Eleanor cleared her throat gently. "This is just the beginning, but if everyone approaches with honesty, patience, and love, perhaps some wounds can heal." Madeline nodded slowly, her gaze lingering on Noah. She felt a mixture of awe and fear. How could a 6-year-old boy command such power over her emotions? And yet, she didn't want to turn away. Not completely. As the afternoon sun cast golden light across the living room, a fragile connection began to form. Between Madeline and Noah, between her and Alexander, between past secrets and the possibility of a future. For the first time since the wedding disaster, Madeline felt cautiously hopeful. The past had been unveiled. The future was uncertain. And yet for the first time she saw the faint outlines of something that could, maybe, survive all the chaos. The city outside gleamed in the evening light, a kaleidoscope of gold and neon reflecting off the windows of Alexander's penthouse. Inside, the tension was palpable. Social media had erupted hours ago. Secret child revealed, wedding scandal, billionaire dad exposed. News outlets were calling, friends and family texting nonstop, but none of that mattered now. Madeline sat on the plush cream sofa, Noah nestled beside her, small arms wrapped around her waist as if anchoring himself to this new, unpredictable reality. She could feel his heartbeat through his tiny body, a steady rhythm that somehow steadied her own racing emotions. Alexander hovered nearby, unsure whether to sit, stand, or make a move. His polished image, the billionaire, the groom-to-be, was gone, replaced by a man desperate to regain trust, desperate to make things right. Noah broke the silence first. "Mom, you really want to stay?" His green eyes were wide, hopeful, vulnerable. Madeline swallowed hard. I want to try, Noah, but it's going to take time. You've lived with secrets. I need to know your world before I can fit in." Noah's lips curved into a shy smile. "I can show you." Alexander exhaled quietly, a mix of relief and lingering guilt. "I know I've lost your trust, both of yours," he said softly, "but I want to earn it back, every single day if you'll let me." Madeline nodded slowly, the storm of anger inside her beginning to settle into cautious determination. "We start by being honest. No more secrets, no more surprises that can hurt anyone." "Agreed," Alexander replied, voice firm yet vulnerable. "Noah comes first, always." The next few hours were filled with soft, careful steps. Noah gave Madeline a tour of his room, showing her the toy soldiers lined up in neat formation, the little handmade drawings taped to the walls, and the books he loved. Madeline listened, laughed gently at his jokes, and allowed herself to be drawn into his small world. She realized that he was not just a child of secrets. He was a boy of imagination, resilience, and longing for connection. Alexander watched, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "He's incredible," he murmured. Madeline's gaze met his, steady and searching. "You didn't tell me the truth, Alexander. You need to understand. I'm not blind to what's been hidden from me. If we're going to move forward, honesty must be absolute." "I understand," he said, voice quiet but resolute. "And I'll prove it every day, starting now." The evening unfolded with small victories. Noah introduced Madeline to his grandmother again, showing her the little routines Alina had helped him build after his mother passed. Laughter mixed with tears, and slowly, Madeline's walls began to crack, revealing compassion, empathy, and a tentative love. Later, as the city lights twinkled outside the window, Madeline, Alexander, and Noah sat together on the balcony. Noah held Madeline's hand, his other hand gripping Alexander's. Will we be a family?" he asked, voice small but filled with hope. Madeline looked at Alexander, searching for certainty. Alexander's jaw tightened, then he nodded. "Yes, but it will take time, patience, and trust, and we start now." Noah's face lit up with a radiant smile. Madeline felt her heart tugged in ways she had never imagined, a mix of fear, love, and hope all at once. In the distance, the city hummed with life, oblivious to the fragile family forming on this balcony. Social media still buzzed, but Madeline realized she no longer cared about the world's judgment. She had two people in front of her who mattered more than anything, Alexander and Noah. And for the first time since the wedding fiasco, she felt a spark of peace, a spark that could grow into something stronger if nurtured with honesty, patience, and courage. But in the quiet, unspoken between them, lingered the question, could love survive when the world knew all your secrets? Could trust be rebuilt after betrayal? Madeline didn't know the answer yet, but she was willing to try. And Noah's laughter echoed softly against the city lights, a small, pure sound of hope that promised beginnings, no matter how broken the past had been. Like and subscribe our channel to support our journey. The city was alive with gossip, cameras, and notifications. Every phone seemed to buzz with Alexander's wedding scandal, every news alert flashing his secret for the world to see. Billionaire groom exposed, secret child revealed, wedding chaos. Social media influencers live-streamed snippets, and gossip blogs exploded with speculation. Inside Alexander's penthouse, the storm outside mirrored the turmoil within. Madeline sat at the glass dining table, sipping tea, her thoughts scattered. Noah built a tower of blocks nearby, careful, meticulous, yet glancing up often at Madeline to gauge her mood. Alexander entered the room holding a small gift wrapped in bright paper. He approached cautiously, like a man stepping on fragile ground. I thought I'd try something small today," he said, placing the gift in front of Noah. Noah's eyes widened. "For me?" Alexander nodded. "Yes, just a little something to show you I'm here, that I care, that I'm trying." Noah tore open the paper to reveal a set of model airplanes, perfectly detailed. His face lit up in pure joy. Madeline watched silently, her heart softening despite herself. Later she asked Alexander, "Do you see what the world thinks of us? How fast rumors spread. People are watching every move we make. Can you handle that? Can you handle me seeing your mistakes, your past?" Alexander took a deep breath. "I don't care about the world anymore, Madeline. I care about him, about you, about us. I'll handle the pressure, the judgment, whatever it takes." Madeline studied him, skepticism and longing warring within her. "You'll have to prove it, not just with words, with actions. Noah needs stability. I need honesty. And so far, we're just surviving chaos." Alexander's jaw clenched, determination in his gaze. "Then I'll do it. I'll show you every day, I promise." Noah interrupted, climbing into Madeline's lap. "Mom, will you read me a story?" Madeline looked down at him, softening. "Of course, sweetie." She picked a storybook from the shelf, opening it slowly. Alexander watched as Madeline read, her voice gentle, soothing. The room was filled with laughter, small smiles, and an unspoken hope that maybe, just maybe, they could survive this together. But the outside world refused to let them breathe. Notifications kept flashing on Alexander's phone. Reporters were already camped outside his building, and social media continued to scrutinize every gesture, every word, every look. Madeline felt the weight pressing down on her chest. "How do we live like this?" she whispered, glancing at Alexander. He knelt beside her, voice low but firm. "One moment at a time. One day at a time. Noah and you, that's all that matters. That evening, Noah fell asleep between them on the couch, his small breathing steady and innocent. Madeline rested her head on Alexander's shoulder, feeling the tension ease slightly, though doubts lingered like shadows. Could trust truly be rebuilt? Could love survive the chaos, the scrutiny, the secrets of the past? The night stretched on, quiet except for the city hum and Noah's gentle breaths. It was fragile, it was delicate, but it was real. And in that fragile reality, a new kind of hope was being born, one that would test every heart, every bond, and every truth in the days to come. The morning sun spilled gold across the penthouse, cutting through the tension that had settled overnight like dust. The city outside buzzed with relentless curiosity. News vans lined the streets, social media was ablaze, and Alexander's every move was under scrutiny. But inside, another kind of storm brewed, one that couldn't be captured on camera or tweeted in 280 characters. Madeline sat at the kitchen island, nursing a cup of coffee. Noah played nearby with his model airplanes, careful to avoid crashing any, his small brow furrowed in concentration. Alexander entered, his eyes tired but determined, carrying a stack of files from the office. "I've been answering emails, handling calls," he said quietly, lowering himself onto the stool beside her. "The press isn't going to stop. We need a plan." Madeline's lips pressed together. "We can plan all we want, Alexander, but this isn't just business. It's us. Noah, me, our life, or whatever is left of it. You think gifts and words fix months of secrecy?" Alexander flinched, the guilt raw in his eyes. "No, they don't. I know that. I'm trying to make it right. Not just with words, but with action. Every day I'll show you." Noah looked up, sensing the tension. "Mom, are you mad at Dad?" Madeline exhaled, forcing herself to smile. "I'm worried, sweetie, but we're going to figure it out." The day stretched, filled with small yet significant steps. Alexander guided Madeline through Noah's routines, school pickups, snack times, bedtime rituals. They laughed, sometimes argued, sometimes glared at each other in frustration. But through it all, Noah's attachment grew, tiny threads weaving a fragile new family bond. Yet by late afternoon, the outside world intruded with a vengeance. A scandalous article had gone viral. Billionaire Groom's secret child shocks the elite. Wedding turns chaotic. Comments poured in. Sympathy, outrage, judgment. Madeline felt it prick her like icy needles. Alexander noticed her stiffening. "I can handle it," he said softly, placing a hand over hers. "Let them talk, we know the truth." Madeline nodded, though unease lingered. "It's not them I'm worried about, it's us. Can we survive this scrutiny and still grow?" Alexander squeezed her hand. "We have to, for Noah." Evening came, and with it, the first real conflict. Noah refused to go to bed without Madeline. Alexander tried to insist that his presence alone was enough. "Noah needs her," Madeline said firmly, emotion in her voice. "He's scared, he's confused, and he trusts me." Alexander paused, frustration and love warring across his face. "I know, I'm trying." The argument simmered, but Noah's small voice cut through. "Mom, Dad, I want both of you." Madeline's heart tightened. She knelt beside him. "We're here, sweetie, we'll figure it out." Alexander watched, guilt and determination etched into every line of his face. He knew that rebuilding trust was not just about words, it was about actions, consistency, patience. That night, as Noah fell asleep in Madeline's arms, Alexander whispered, "I've never felt so responsible or so powerless, but I'll protect this family, no matter what." Madeline rested her head against his chest, feeling the weight of the day, the challenges ahead, and the fragile beginnings of hope. Outside, the world judged. Inside, hearts worked quietly to mend, bond, and survive. The path ahead was uncertain, but for the first time, Madeline felt the faint pulse of something stronger than fear. The possibility of family, love, and trust, forged through trials and unspoken truths. The morning light filtered through the penthouse blinds, but it did little to soften the tension that had gripped the family. Social media was ablaze. Every camera outside Alexander's building was a silent witness. Reporters clamored for statements. Gossip columns splashed headlines. Billionaire Groom's hidden son shocks elite. Wedding disaster goes viral. Notifications pinged relentlessly on Madeline's phone, echoing a world that refused to let them breathe. Madeline sat on the sofa, staring blankly at the screen, scrolling through comments that ranged from sympathy to cruel ridicule. Noah sat beside her, a small hand clutching hers. "Mom, are people saying bad things?" Madeline forced a smile, masking her unease. "Some are, sweetie, but we know the truth and that's what matters." Alexander entered, suit slightly rumpled, hair uncombed, eyes heavy with exhaustion. "I've spoken to the team. We can manage the press, but they're relentless. Every misstep is amplified." Madeline's fingers drummed nervously on her coffee cup. "It's not just the press, Alexander. It's everything. The world judging us, judging Noah. Can we survive this scrutiny and still be a family?" Alexander knelt beside Noah. "We have to. One day, one step at a time. We focus on us, on trust, on love. The rest is noise." But even as he spoke, cracks appeared. Noah tugged at Madeline's sleeve, worry in his green eyes. "Mom, what if they don't like me? What if you go away?" Madeline's chest tightened. She cupped his face gently. "I'm not going anywhere, Noah, I promise. You, Alexander, and I will face this together." Later that day, a sudden leak shook their fragile calm. Photos of Alexander with a previous business partner taken out of context hit the news. Rumors of scandal and betrayal spread instantly. Madeline felt her stomach churn. I can't do this. Everything is too much. I'm scared of being hurt again." Alexander pulled her into a firm embrace. "I know. I feel it too. But we're stronger than the lies, stronger than the judgment. We just need each other." Noah watched them, small eyes wide. "Dad, Mom, will you still love me?" Madeline smiled softly, brushing his hair. "Always, sweetie, always." Alexander took a deep breath. "We protect our family no matter what. I won't let anyone tear this apart." Evening fell and the three of them sat together on the balcony, the city lights glittering like 1,000 eyes watching. The storm outside raged on, but inside, a fragile bond held fast. Noah leaned against Madeline, fingers entwined with Alexander. Madeline exhaled slowly, realizing something vital. Love and trust weren't built in perfect moments. They were forged in the chaos, in the storms, in the moments when hearts refused to break despite fear, doubt, and the relentless gaze of the world. As the night deepened, a quiet determination settled over them. No matter the leaks, the rumors, the judgment, or the shadows of past mistakes, they would fight for each other. Because family, real family, wasn't defined by perfection. It was defined by the courage to stay, to forgive, and to love when everything else seemed lost. The morning sun barely penetrated the penthouse blinds, casting long, uneasy shadows across the living room. Alexander's phone buzzed constantly, texts, calls, notifications. Each ping was a reminder that the world outside was relentless, and the fragile peace inside could shatter at any moment. Madeline sat on the edge of the sofa, Noah beside her, drawing quietly, but her hands trembled, her mind racing. The social media storm had grown louder overnight, articles, videos, memes, and she couldn't escape the feeling that her life was on display, analyzed and judged by millions. Alexander entered, face pale, holding an unopened envelope. "It's from the media. A reporter dug into my past business dealings. They found something. They're twisting it to make it look worse than it is." Madeline's chest tightened. Why does it always feel like the world wants to tear us apart? Before Alexander could respond, Noah looked up, small voice trembling. "Mom, Dad, what if you leave me?" Madeline froze. The question cut deeper than any headline. She knelt beside him, holding his tiny hands. "Noah, I'm not going anywhere. You're my family now. We stay together always." Alexander swallowed hard, guilt shadowing his eyes. "We'll protect him, both of you. I won't let anyone hurt our family." But their resolve was tested that evening. A confrontation erupted over a small misunderstanding. Madeline discovered Alexander had been quietly arranging a secret business meeting without telling her. "You promised no more secrets," Madeline said, voice sharp, anger and fear mingling. "And now this. You're hiding things from me again." Alexander's jaw tightened. "Madeline, it's work. I needed to handle it before it blew up in public. I thought I was protecting you, protecting Noah." Madeline's eyes filled with tears. "Protecting us or protecting yourself?" Noah whimpered, clutching Madeline's sleeve. "Please don't fight. I don't want you to leave." The boy's fear pierced the room like a blade. Alexander reached for him, but Madeline held him close, trembling. For a moment, silence reigned, broken only by the faint hum of the city outside. "I'm scared, Alexander," Madeline whispered. "I want to trust you, but every time, something from your past threatens us." Alexander took a deep breath, swallowing the guilt. "I understand, and I'll do whatever it takes to prove that I'm here fully for you and Noah. No more secrets, no more half-truths, I swear it." They held Noah between them, a small, fragile anchor in a storm of doubt and scrutiny. Outside, the world buzzed and judged. Inside, hearts fought to survive, to trust, to love despite shadows from the past. Madeline realized something vital. Love wasn't about avoiding storms. It was about standing together through them. But the envelope on the table remained unopened, a symbol that the next test was already waiting. A secret from Alexander's past threatened to rise, and the fragile family they were building could be pushed to the brink. Noah's eyes looked up at both of them. "Mom, Dad, I just want us to be safe together." And in that moment, Madeline knew. No matter the secrets, no matter the rumors, no matter the storms, they had to fight, not just for themselves, but for Noah. The night settled around them, tense, uncertain, yet holding the first fragile threads of hope, a hope that would soon face its ultimate trial. The morning light barely touched the penthouse, but tension filled every corner. The envelope from the previous night sat unopened on the marble counter, a silent harbinger of truth ready to shatter the fragile peace. Madeline sat with Noah, who clutched her hand tightly. "Mom, are we really safe?" he whispered. She knelt beside him, brushing his hair gently. "We will be, sweetheart. Together we face whatever comes." Alexander entered, exhaustion etched into his features, but his eyes carried steel. He took a deep breath and picked up the envelope. "It's time. No more hiding, no more half-truths. Everything comes out now." Madeline's hands shook as she opened the envelope, revealing documents, photos, and messages from a business deal gone wrong, twisted by a former partner to implicate Alexander in betrayal and scandal. "They're trying to ruin us," Alexander said, voice low but firm. "But we face it together. No lies, no secrets." Madeline looked at him, heart pounding, emotions raw. "If we survive this, we survive everything. But I need to know you're truly committed, not just to me, but to Noah, to this family." "I am," Alexander whispered, kneeling beside Noah, who peeked at the papers curiously. "Noah, nothing, not the rumors, not the mistakes, not anyone can break what we're building. Your mom, me, we're here. Always." Noah's small green eyes filled with tears, and he hugged both of them fiercely. "I don't want to lose either of you." Madeline held back tears, feeling the weight of the past and the hope for the future. "You won't," she whispered. "We fight together. That's the only way forward." The next hours were tense yet intimate. Alexander made calls to clarify the scandal, facing reporters with honesty, transparency, and vulnerability. Madeline stayed by his side, supporting him while shielding Noah from the chaos. Every small action, every moment of patience, every shared glance built trust anew. As night fell, the city lights reflected in the floor-to-ceiling windows. The storm of social media continued, but inside, the trio sat together on the balcony. Noah rested against Madeline, fingers entwined with Alexander. Madeline exhaled slowly. "We've survived storms, secrets, lies, and yet here we are, stronger together." Alexander kissed her forehead softly. "Stronger because of love, because of trust, and because of you both." Noah smiled, eyes sparkling. "I'm happy I have both of you." The camera of life might capture scandals, the world might judge, but in that moment, hearts beat in unison. Love, trust, and family, the real story, shone brighter than any headline. Madeline looked at the camera, breaking the fourth wall subtly. If you've enjoyed following our story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell for part 11. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Alexander added, smiling, "And remember, every family faces storms. It's how we face them together that counts." Noah giggled, tugging at their hands. "Yeah, we're unstoppable." The night wrapped them in a fragile, hard-earned peace, the kind that comes only after storms are faced, truths are confronted, and love refuses to break. The city was buzzing as usual, but inside the penthouse, a calm had settled, a calm hard-earned through chaos, heartbreak, and truth. The social media storm had begun to fade. Transparency, honesty, and Alexander's public handling of the scandal had softened judgment. People still whispered, but the family had found a rhythm, a quiet strength that no headline could destroy. Madeline sipped her morning coffee, sunlight spilling across the floor, as Noah built a miniature city of blocks at the coffee table. Alexander entered, carrying a tray with 3 mugs. "Breakfast for my little team," he said softly, setting the tray down. Noah grinned. "Team us." Madeline laughed, the sound warm and genuine. "Team us indeed, it feels good, doesn't it? Even after everything, we're here, together." Alexander knelt beside Noah, ruffling his hair. "Nothing can shake us if we stick together. We've faced storms that would break most people, but we didn't just survive, we grew stronger." Noah hugged them both tightly. "I love you both, I'm happy now." Madeline felt a lump in her throat. She looked at Alexander, his eyes reflecting exhaustion, relief, and a quiet pride. "We've come a long way," she whispered. "From secrets, lies, and heartbreak to this. I never imagined this kind of family, but I can't imagine life any other way now." Alexander took her hand, fingers entwining naturally. "Neither can I, and we'll keep building it, every day. One step, one laugh, one story at a time." The afternoon unfolded in small, tender moments. They took Noah to the park, letting him run freely, Alexander teaching him to ride a small bike while Madeline cheered from the sidelines. Every giggle, every cheer, every fall and quick recovery was a testament to trust rebuilt, love nurtured, and bonds strengthened. Later, they returned to the penthouse, where Noah carefully placed his tiny bike in the corner. "Can we have a family movie night?" he asked, eyes bright. "Absolutely," Madeline said, smiling. Alexander handed him a blanket. They all settled on the couch, a trio wrapped in warmth, laughter, and love, while the city lights shimmered outside the window. Madeline looked at Alexander, a mixture of relief and affection in her gaze. "We made it through everything, and I believe in us, all 3 of us." Alexander smiled, brushing a stray hair from her face. "Always, and whatever comes next, we face it together. No secrets, no lies, just family." Noah's small voice chimed in from the blanket nest. "Best team ever." Madeline glanced at the camera subtly, breaking the 4th wall with a soft smile. "If you followed our journey from the very beginning, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell. Every storm has an ending, and sometimes the ending is exactly what you hoped for." Alexander added, grinning. "And remember, families aren't perfect, but love, patience, and trust, they make all the difference." Noah laughed, tugging both of their hands. "Yeah, we're unstoppable." The camera pulls back to show the 3 of them on the couch, warm light spilling over them, the city buzzing outside, and the first true peace settling in their hearts. A story that began with secrets, heartbreak, and betrayal ended with hope, love, and new beginnings. Proof that even the deepest scars can become the strongest bonds. The end.